Well, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Now, some newbies, especially, have a question about four-wheel steering. And what better way to explain something like this than with a couple of clods? Now, the Clodbuster, Super Clodbuster, and all the other ones, stock, they have one servo in the middle, and that servo controls both front and rear wheels. But there are popular modifications that people love to do, and they should do them. Now the center servo, that has a lot of play, not a lot of control. It's very sloppy. So there's a very popular modification that people do, and they put servos on the axles, which is very direct, very strong, and it's a much better experience with the Clod. So I have my original Clodbuster that only about 2-3 years ago, I had since 2015, I think. Only a couple of years ago did I do that modification, and I'm glad I did. Then Clodbuster Gray, my wife's Clod, the Colorado, I did that almost right away. Now originally I did the modification where you put the ball joint underneath on the front. That did better if you just want two channels, because you have your throttle and your steering. But with the modification here, if you want four-wheel steering, you need at least 3 channels. You have to be careful with the transmitter. It can't be that HotRC CT-8A that doesn't have four-wheel steering option. What you have to do is find one that does, or find one that people have been able to figure out how to do four-wheel steering. Mixing, mainly it's called. Flysky G7P, whatever. The 7-channel transmitter does have built-in four-wheel steering. Mixing. This does not. But you can use it for it, because the sticks utilize 2 channels each. Now, I assume that for any stick radio that has 2 channels on the steering part, then with that, you can use steering however you want. You can have all the functionality of programmable four-wheel steering. Now on the Flysky 7 channel, you go into the menu, go up until you see mixing, enter, and there you got your four-wheel steering. Choose your four-wheel steering, the rate, how much four-wheel steering you want on the rear. That's for the rear wheels. Some people like 30%, some like 50%. I have it set to 100 because Clodbuster doesn't have very good steering in the rear and altogether. They have very wide turning radius. So then you press the trim, you set it to press the trim button to choose on the fly what type of steering you want if you don't want to go into the menu, which is good. Then we have the Flysky FS-i6x, and the steering is right here. And then you have your mixes. I have mix off because I like to do it on the fly, and I'll show you. All right, with pistol, you can have regular front steering, assign a button to change the four-wheel crab, and then rear only. Then back to front and four-wheel steering, which is great. But I like stick radio because you got your, let me turn it on. But I like a stick radio, where you got your front wheel steering, rear, 4-wheel, and then crab walk, all without having to switch anything. So as I'm driving, I can go front 4-wheel steering, front wheel if I have to, rear wheel only, crab walk without touching a thing. But so it's all personal preference, as everyone says, but my preference is the stick radio, because I don't like, I like the on the fly, just switching over back and forth whenever I feel like it. Like I can go from 4-wheel steering and then just change it over to front wheel steering right away. I don't have to fiddle with anything. The pistol grip radio is more comfortable. A lot of people like using them for driving buggies, things like that. It's great. But my preference, 4-wheel steer. I have all my 4-wheel steer trucks on this thing. The Clod right here, the bus, the King Yellow, the Rock Soccer, and one other. Oh yeah, the HG P410. Have them all on this thing. I like using that. So if that's a big question on your mind, if you are going to build a 4-wheel steer vehicle, or you already have one, you want to change something over, there you go. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Can you see me? Do you want to?